Hi there, Kesicki here from Quantum Quest Coaching, and today we're going to talk about altering reality. How can we alter reality? How can we change our reality? But first, let's talk about what is reality and how is it created for us individually. I'd like to introduce to my friend Tom, and Tom's the average person who's exposed to seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. These are all sensories that we're all exposed to on a daily basis, and what's really interesting about it is that we're actually exposed to about 2 to 4 million bits of data per second. However, that would drive anybody absolutely crazy because our conscious mind, our thinking mind, the mind that you're listening to me with right now, the mind that I'm speaking to you with right now, can only process about 134 bits per second. So what happens to that additional data? Well, it gets deleted. It gets deleted, it gets distorted, and it gets generalized. So we'll take Tom, for example, and Tom has, we'll call it a filter. Call it a meta filter. And what Tom does, based on his life experiences, what he's been exposed to before, he'll determine what's important out of the things that are coming into his sensory, the seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. What's important, what's not important, what is sort of, common, and what's general, and it's going to delete it. And the rest of it is going to go into his mind, and it's going to become Tom's internal representation of the world, what Tom deems to be valuable to him. Now, Tom's internal representation of the world, his IR, is largely what determines Tom's reality. So we have a cycle. Tom lives on a planet, Tom's exposed to stimulus, Tom decides what it is that's important out of that stimulus, he allows into his mind what he deems by his meta model as valid, and that becomes Tom's reality. So why are different people have different realities? Well, because different people have different filters, and what they'll decide to allow in and not allow in will be very different than the other person. So how do we change reality then? Now imagine, based on the information we just talked about, that information is coming in, we filter it, we decide what our IR is going to be, and it becomes our real world. Imagine taking the same principle of having that overload of information coming in on a regular basis and changing it, deciding what it is that we'd like to have in there that may not be in there right now. I'll give you an example. Let's say that Tom wanted to be a really good basketball player, or Tom really wanted to be great at acting, or Tom wanted to be great at anything he wanted to be at. So imagine, if you will, that Tom gets into a deep meditated state and he starts focusing and concentrating on what it is that he'd like to see in his life. But instead of having that huge filter on that blocks a lot of the stuff that usually was coming in, he's now allowing all of that information to flow. So let's say he's playing football. He's on a football league. He's not been that good. However, Tom watches a lot of football, and he has a couple of really great football players, legends that he likes a lot. So now Tom imagines himself the next time he's going to play football as having all those attributes, all those skills, and he sees himself out there on a screen. He sees himself running these plays over and over again. He feels how it feels when everybody's cheering for Tom. Now, it's not his protege, it's Tom. He sees the faces, the expressions of his buddies as he makes the touchdown. He feels how he feels. He's sweating on the field. He sees the green grass. He feels the brisk cold air. He really spends like 10 or 15 minutes loading his mind, right? He's loading his mind with all the stimuluses that he might have deleted in his old reality because, we can't have that much information coming in. But in this case, he wants it. He wants to put as much visualization into this because the conscious mind has no ability to determine what's different between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So now Tom, going through this process, he vividly imagines what it is that he wants to be. And now that information comes back to him as a new reality. And why is it a new reality? Because the human mind can't distinguish the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So the vividly imagined reality that Tom created for himself, he created it with more visual cues, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, to the point that that experience for Tom became more real than if Tom was actually playing in his old self. So for more cool information like this, come check me out on quantumquest.com. There's more free videos, and thanks for listening.